This video, I'm going to try and stay on track and discuss the setups regarding the dogs in my life. Okay, because I've mentioned, but I kind of cut myself off and stray off into the hunters and stuff like this. So I want to kind of stay focused and talk about setups with the animals. Okay. So let's go back to voice to skull kind of technology. It must have been about 4 years by now. Just trying to think how long I've had these two dogs. Actually, there was three, but one got shot. But okay. In regards to the setups with the dogs, going back to basically the first pattern that I started to notice with dogs and voice to skull more than likely was used on me for this. Okay, here's the scoop. I was down to two dogs, and with what just happened after me explaining about the two dogs, the one barking, the porcupine quills and such, which I should say the other dog did come back too, but the very next day I found antifreeze in this can out by the door that wasn't there because I was guarding that door all night. But when my dog, that other one, came back, it seemed drunk. It seemed disorientated. It didn't, is walking around, kind of out to lunch. And ever since, she started getting sick and started to grow this benign tumor-like thing. And okay, so that one, she's still alive. She's still living with me. Her name's Caitlin. And the other one is Samantha, the one with the porcupine quills, and she's still alive. So going back to just having the two dogs, I realized I need more dogs out here. The two older ones weren't enough protection after what I'd just gone through, and there was many other setups and such that were making me like, this is enough. The cats, sometimes they can protect the house, believe it or not, because when they're packing and somebody comes around with chicken dinner on their fingers and the outdoor cats are looking for a snack, they're gonna jump at your chicken fingers. And so they were helping with guarding the door and staying alert and stuff like this too. So anyways, back to only having the two dogs. I decided, I said, I kind of put it in prayer. I put it in the air. I put it out loud. I said, oh, I'm going to need about 3 more dogs. Like, where do I just magically find a dog? The SPCA, sure, but they want hundreds of dollars. I just want to rescue somebody. I don't generally go to the SPCA and rescue them there. Animals come to me, I rescue them. People find me, they say, hey Shar, I've got this dog, nobody wants it, do you think you can handle it? Stuff like this. This has been ongoing my whole life, that dogs come to me. Cats do too. However, the dog thing, so I put it out in the air saying, I really could use a couple more dogs. 3 would be exact. And lo and behold, within, I think it was 3 days, maybe up to 5 later, after I put that out in the air, the next time I went anywhere, like I said, I don't leave unless I have to around here. Living in the country, if you don't have to, you might be at home for quite a while. Well, I was at home 3, 4 days, 5 days, I don't know. Then it took off. When I took off, I came across 3 strays that needed a home to live. Bing, bing, bing. 2 one day after the first one. So here's the scoop. I'm driving down the good roads, another good road, because it takes about 5 or 6 good roads to get to the highway for me, and then I can venture off on into the city from there. Well, I don't know what grid road it was, about 5th one in or something. This dog comes ripping across open field, and as I'm turning to go from one road to the other, dog kitty corners us and goes up to the passenger's door, like let me in kind of thing. So my son was sitting in the passengers at the time, and I said, open the door, what the hell? And dog jumps into the back seat. I have two in the front and then a long bench seat in the back. And so it jumps in the back. I needed to go to the city for supplies, so I took it with us. I put up a couple signs saying, lost dog, whatever, no response, whatever. People dump their dogs off the highway randomly all the time. And those type of dogs, they end up finding me and wanting to come home with me. That's just what's my life is about. I can't get away from dogs, cats finding me and wanting to come home. And if I can, which I always never have turned away an animal, especially when you live in the country, you got the room, it just costs the money to feed them and such, but they become part of your family, they're friends. And the ones that you rescue, they're a little bit different than, a puppy right off the mum, and it's well cared for and such. They respect you at a different level because you did rescue them. So that was the first one. Then, what was it? Then the next dog, that was a legit one. That one was someone in the city said, hey, we have a dog, blah, blah, blah. Can you take him? It was a husky. That's the one that got shot. He was a beautiful, handsome boy. He had the blue eyes that would go red when he was angry or anxious or something. They put a microchip in that dog too, but anyways, very highly intelligent. We named him Luke. So there was Tony, Luke, and then to follow the same night as Luke would be Wesley, and we call him Wesley. He's like a herding dog. He was a dump off the highway again, but how convenient that the first dog, Tony, ran across the field, jumped in the truck like that. I did a little investigation as to why. Well, sometimes cruel humans live in the country and they decide that they want to remove the balls of a dog or cat without sedating them. And they do it without a vet, of course, just like in their barn or whatever. And part of his balls were out and part were in. So that's first clue that I thought they're doing like an emergency ball removal. So, and there was 3 burn marks on the back of that dog. Later talking with other neighbors that seem to have a brain with this kind of stuff, say, yeah, they can get cattle prods and actually zap the dog so that it goes zapped out so they can remove the balls. And so that was a definite get in my truck and come home with me, handsome boy. Once I put the story together and figured out his story, that was that dog's story. The next dog is, we went to the city, got the dog. We named him Luke. But on the way home with that dog that night, on the back roads, coming home, I see this like thing running in my mirror. And then I see it in the other mirror. What the hell is that? That ain't no deer coming after me, is it? Because they can be attracted to the lights and run after vehicles for the lights. So I stopped the truck, told my son, hold on to this new dog that we got in the truck already, and there could be fights, we don't know. So I said, let me see. I went out there and checked on the dog. The dog came running over to me, tried to get into my door. And I just explained, well, hey, buddy, I can put you in the back of the half ton, but I didn't want the 2 dogs in there together. You just don't know their personalities yet. They're brand new to me. So I said, well, if you can hang tight in the back of the half ton, you can come home with me, and right away up in the. So I'm driving home with one in the back, one in the front with us, and that was all great and dandy. Nobody's dogs. I put signs, nothing. So just making sure I'm not stealing someone's dog, that'd be not my game. But so they all ended up being rescues in the end. Bring them home, and of course they target my smartest one, Luke, the one that we just put up on a pedestal type of dog, highly intelligent with husky in them and such. So then the story evolves where, how I say, the hunters killed my dog. Well, what led up to that? Well, because they want to hunt on my land, you see. And that dog, being a highly intelligent dog, was on to their game before I was, and would go ripping out in his area to check shit out. Well, since those sons of bitches are on my land shooting at deers and stuff, they accidentally killed my dog. Or maybe they did it as a setup. I'm not too certain 100%, but I have my theories. One thing is that the guy came to brag about it. Oh yeah, one of my boys shot your dog, blah, 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 carrying on. He carried on about this big, long bullshit story, telling me about how my dogs ran over to his place. So they ran 80 acres out back and then continued to run another 40 acres to get to your land. Yeah, sure. Okay, buddy. He's claiming that they ripped apart fencing because all his cattle and his bulls were running. He's trying to make it like a big stampede because of my dogs. Okay, so the one dog doesn't come back. The other two did, of course, because they're still alive and with me. But meanwhile, for days before the shooting of my dog, I'd hear gunshots go off. I'd hear the quads in the back nearby. I'd hear them in different parts of the land, but I mean, 80 acres, you're not going to find them necessarily. So and besides, who wants to run around with guys with guns in the back, right? So going back to when the setup with my dog happened, and prior to that, okay, as time went on, I've learned some of the hunters' techniques. They will use dog whistles to lure the coyotes out, which will then scare the deer so that the deer are better shooting. You scare them out and there they are. So they use these damn dog whistles, but they're just right nearby on my fucking property using these dog whistles. They can't even stay on their own property and kill animals. No, they got to come to my property and start killing my dogs and the wildlife. So I'm hearing all this stuff for a few days, guns going off. It is legal to hunt, but it happened to be in the dark as well. So that tells me that they're using night vision to see where to shoot. Especially the night thing. In the middle of the day, you hear a gun go off. It could be the neighbor shooting a porcupine or some damn thing too, right? But no. This is beyond a neighbor shooting a porcupine. So the dogs, okay, yeah. So how did they lure my dogs out of my own house? Well, with the dog whistles, I started noticing the dogs would be low to the ground, their ears would be back, and they'd be woo, 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 woo at the door, but really low to the ground. Very odd barking behavior. And then they started to try and rip the door apart off from the bottom, right? I remember there's 5 dogs and they're all trying to rip apart the door to get out with their ears down and all barking. And this is like day 3 of this shit, and I still haven't really caught on to the dog whistles, but I'm assuming, what the hell are they up to now? They're on another setup, and I know it, but not making the full hello with knowing what hunters do. That was one big thing. I don't know. I don't hunt. I don't kill things. So the dogs, okay, I was keeping an eye on them, stuff like this. They got one door that they go in and out of because their dog pen leads out one door, but they were going to the other door. They were going to the human's door, trying to rip it off the hinges from the bottom. Well, lo and behold, they managed to rip the door open. And how they did that is when I happened to be in the washroom. Yeah, nice. So you're running up a hallway, pulling your pants up, almost pissing on yourself because you hear the door open. Well, when you're in the middle of a pee, it's just hard to say, oh, I'm going to stop now. But because I was panicking, I quickly pulled. It was just nuts. Anyway, so I went running. By that time, my dogs already made a book for it. They were out of here. And it was weird. They just ripped, first of all, ripping the door open like that, and then all ripping out. The 2 older ones kind of stayed back and came back first, but the other 3 that had just become part of the family, gone. When the first 2, Wesley and Tony, came back, Tony's eyes and his spirit, when I said, "Where's Luke?" kind of gave it up. And if you know dogs, you can see it. And I read into the dog, and I knew before the man came to brag about it that my dog had been shot and I'd never see him again. Yes, rest in peace, my handsome Luke. That one's a very devastating story. It's like someone just took your kid and killed him. It don't matter. We'll come over and brag about it. That was another thing when the jackass came over to brag about it. It's got these killer-like hands. You can see serial killer or something wrong with the man's hands. And the creepy thing is that he did not pull in my driveway. He parked at the end of the driveway. A little trick with carrying a weapon in your vehicle. You may not want to enter someone's property. So the son of a bitch had a rifle for hunting, more likely, in his truck, parks at the end of the driveway, walks in through the trees to carry on and on and on for 45 minutes about how him and his boys, or one of my boys killed your dog. And like I'm ever going to find it, It was probably on his property that he dragged it over there and burnt the body. Who knows? I've never found the body. But there's so much land. Who knows where they did it for sure. But I think the reasoning why the son of a bitch came over to confess about killing this dog, because I know that there was about 5 others that there was no confessing. I just wondered what happened to them. Why? To keep me off the back part of my property, so that I'd be in fear. Because he tried to instill the fear of God into me, and he kind of did it for a while, to be honest. Because this man is also known to be like a KKK kind of member. Yeah, the connections that he has with his bison and his cattle. It's like everybody sucks his dick over the meat. So any farmers around here, they all know what he's about, but they all kind of play like, yeah, well, because it's all about the money for them. So people like me get shit on along the way, and we get our dogs killed, and then we get told that some bullshit story like how your dogs came over to my place and made all my bulls and my cattle go ripping through their fence. If that was the case, why in the hell did my dog rip the fucking door off the hinges to get out? Because you guys were setting up a setup so that I can nicely call the cops. Well, guess what? I didn't call the cops over it. Maybe I should have. That's what they wanted me to do. So I went, yeah, I'm not gonna fall for this shit. So, because you need evidence, you need proof, you need all this stuff before any cop's gonna take you serious. And even if you do have the evidence, check out Michael Barton's story. He's got the evidence, but they fuck him. So, things to think about before you open your mouth too sometimes, maybe, because it can get worse. But then again, you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fucking fire them out too. Just be careful. I know I'm swearing a bit, but whatever. That's what happens when you're ranting out a story about your animal getting killed. So they got their little game going with animals and dogs. So that's the first round with dogs and stuff. Now, that's all my own dogs. So meanwhile, behind the scenes, we got other gang stalkers lining up to play more dog scenario games and throw off some more tactics. These stories unfold by pretending that they're strays, but they're actually the neighbor's dog in the end. I get this stray coming into the yard, big black dog. Ripped apart 3 of my cats, and I'm just supposed to sit back and say, oh, well, I don't know whose dog it is. Let it go over to the neighbors and get shot. I still have a heart, even though the dog killed 3 cats. Dogs will kill cats and stuff when they don't understand what they are. And when the cat starts retaliating, the dog gets curious, and then it could lead to death in the cat, okay? When the dog doesn't understand what a cat is, these kinds of things happen. So, neighbor's dog, I don't know where it came from. It just appeared in my yard, killing cats. So I take it in, try and settle it so no more cats get killed and stuff. And I put up a sign in the nearest town saying, someone lost their dog. Of course, nobody gets back. However, time unfolds. 3 months go by. Some clown goof comes into my yard that happens to be a neighbor saying, oh, that's my dog. Do you think I can have him back? Yeah, whatever. Take this clown goof dog out of here, He was a real simpleton dog. It was very hard to control this dog. I was managing. I was starting to get somewhere with it after 3 months. But yeah, take your dog home. However, it just led up for more and more and more setups. The same dog would come over. Same dog would come over. I'd go bring it back. They'd come get it. I'd go bring it back. Sometimes I was low on gas, where I'm not going to waste my gas money. They can come to fucking me and come and get their damn dog. Well then, oh, she's not returning our dog. So we get cocky attitude up here. Yeah. So one day I'm laying in bed with a migraine. Ice on my head. Dark room. My boy comes into my room and says, Mom, the neighbor is here. And I says, okay, well, so I go to get up, but I got really dizzy. I couldn't do it. So my boy answers the door to the neighbor. The neighbor burls his chest up at my kid like this, and my kid's about 8, maybe, I don't know, 9 at the time. Let's go back a few years. So burls his chest up at my kid. If your mom doesn't bring that dog back when it comes here, I'm gonna call the RCMP on her. Well, when my boy came to tell me this information, I right away said this is fucking bullshit, and I called the RCMP to inform them of some clown goof that's going to phone you guys if my dog goes, or if their dog comes back into my yard. How does that make any sense? Even the RCMP man had trouble, kind of. But he had heard of this guy. So that was kind of a useful piece of information. You've heard of him. Oh, well, thank you. Check. So dog keeps coming over. Eventually, my brother was watching the house and said, fuck this noise. And he took it to the SPCA because he had had enough of my stories and killing animals. Like, the dog would kill cats quite often. And every time it came over, another cat would end up dead. So my brother said, I'm not putting up with this shit. And he took it to the SPCA, you bet. And it's out of here. So whatever, right? Okay, and then another dog situation comes about. How they play these dogs into my life. Different neighbor, different dog story. So, the guy with the private property signs he likes to put on my sandhill up on the road. This guy, the guy with the porcupines and the Batman deal. Yeah, same character. Okay, so I kind of told this story in another video when I was ranting and swearing and yada yada. It's the same type of situation. Now here's more dogs. Two different kinds of dogs are in my yard killing cats. The one dog did not kill cats. The other dog did. So I took the two dogs. They came ripping into my house like they belonged there. I put the one dog out in the pen by itself that killed cats so that it can be away from harming anyone. And the other dog, it was just like this total wimp little dog, bigger dog, but just a baby and scared of things and learning and that kind of stages. Well, I kept them overnight, and may I mention, my computer was playing random videos, picking videos for me to watch, wouldn't let me watch what I wanted to watch. So I knew, okay, they're jacking with my technology again. Same night. Well, I'm thinking, what am I going to do with these dogs? That just, I don't want them here. There's two more now, and I see it as a pattern, and they're setting me up again. What am I going to do? I'm thinking, like, geez. So I was up all night with these dogs, so getting sleep deprived, and dealing with technology that's doing its own thing. And next, it's in the morning. It's about 7 o'clock now in the morning. I'm still, like, very tired, thinking maybe I should have a little nap because I got to deal with these dogs when I do get up. Well, there was no nap for me until a big gong show in my yard with cops and shit happened first. Because of these two dogs in my house. Well, one was outside, like I said, in the pen, so it was contained in the pen by itself. My dogs did fine with this other wimpy kind of dog, the young one. And I start getting knocks at my door at 7 a.m. And I just had my garage ripped off about 2 weeks before that. And my other dog was shot not long before that. So I was highly sensitized at the time. And so these two dogs in the house, well, one in the house, one in the yard. I get the knock at the door, 7 a.m. I think it started. The guy wouldn't stop knocking until 11 a.m. and the cops came. And the only reason why I didn't answer is because it could be a setup as a home invasion. I don't know who this clown goof is. And I was recording him with my cell phone through the kitchen window. I was kind of sneaking up my phone so that they didn't see me recording, but yet I was recording. And I caught the guy changing outfits in my trees. First he had blue, like they were trying to sensitize me with colors at the time, so he had blue and red on. Then he switched to black with white stripes, like the gang member kind of clothing. And then by the time the cops were called and got here, because he called the cops on me thinking I'm holding his dogs hostage or some damn thing, what an idiot. It's all this is set up. Because when the cops did come, they don't have any right walking in your house. That's for sure. I'm in the house hiding because I'm thinking this could go really sour really fast, and I have my boy to protect. And so, bang, 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 knock, knock, knock. I ignore the first guy, thinking, thinking the worst, you don't know what. But besides, the way his wimp dog was acting, it was sitting on my lap, trying to protect me. To me, that tells me the person at the door, this dog does not belong to the person at the door. So I kind of was ruled out that it could be somebody about their dogs, only because the dog was sitting on my lap, scared and shaking. I mean, I was scared too, but if my dog was in someone else's house and I was at the door knocking, it'd be tail wagging, it'd be trying to get out, it'd be, there's my master. I wouldn't be trying to sit on the other person's lap, scared and going, "Ooh," scared and shaking on me. So I'm thinking it could be a home invasion girl kind of thing. Keeping my guard up. Uh, we went to the back room where no windows could see, like, because he was, whoever this clown goof was, the neighbor knocking at the door, was also looking in the window because I was hiding behind the couch for a while, to the point where I could kind of spy a little bit. Have the house set up at the time where if someone were looking through the window, I had my hiding spots. So I went to one of my hiding spots with the dog scared on my lap. Doors are banging away. I have my kid hiding. I mean, this has been going on 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock now, give it up. I couldn't understand or make out what the guy was yelling, but I could hear cussing and stuff. So by the time the cop comes, okay, cop tries to walk into the house. I quickly run to that door as it's opening and smash it into the cop's face, telling him he is not allowed to just waltz on in here. Of course, freaking out and stuff. The cop says to me through the door, "Well, you've got your neighbor's dogs." I says, "Who the hell's my neighbor?" Because there was nobody living in the house that this neighbor lives in for like 20 years. They went to Mexico and they would come back to their little Canada cabin in the middle of nowhere for winters. But most of the time, the people were not there. I have seen them after my house burnt down. I talked to them and they said generally we go to Mexico and we like to travel. We're not really in that house, but it is ours. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just assumed that still nobody was living there. Meanwhile, this clown goof idiot moves in, Gangstalking Jack, right? Moves in to start Operation X-File B1 on me. Well, with the dogs. So that whole thing plays out. Cop smashed the door in his face. I go out to the yard. I explained this in another video, and I was reliving it at the time when I was telling it. So there's a lot of swearing going on and involved, and I probably missed out a bunch of extra things, but it was a rant about what was happening in this situation. So this is the more full detail, whole story, whatever, calmly spoken. So after